from the nuclear explosion scorched Tony Stark's suit as he guided the missile into the Chitauri mothership. His heart raced, knowing this act could save millions on Earth. As the missile detonated, the portal above New York shimmered violently. The feedback from the blast sent ripples through the wormhole, destabilizing it. JARVIS's voice crackled in Tony's ears. Warning, dimensional anomaly detected, trajectory unknown. Before Tony could process the message, the energy wave pulled him into the collapsing portal. His vision blurred, and a searing pain shot through his body as the world around him dissolved into bright, twisting light. Moments later, everything went dark. Tony awoke with a gasp, his body weak and his suit sparking with damaged circuitry. He was in a metallic chamber surrounded by strange insect-like machines. His HUD was glitching, and JARVIS's voice was faint. Mr. Stark, unknown location. Systems failing. The door slid open with a sharp hiss, and a tall, imposing man stepped inside. Count Dooku's regal presence filled the room as he approached Tony. The former Jedi's sharp eyes scanned the battered Iron Man suit with curiosity and intrigue. "Well, what do we have here?" Dooku said, his voice calm but commanding. "A warrior clad in armor unlike anything I've seen in this galaxy." Tony groaned, struggling to sit up. "I'm sorry. Did I crash your tea party?" Dooku smirked, sensing Tony's defiance. "Your technology is extraordinary, but your attitude, less so. Tell me, stranger, who are you?" "Tony Stark. Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist," Tony replied weakly. "And you are?" "Count Dooku," the Sith Lord responded, his tone dripping with pride. "I lead the Confederacy of Independent Systems, a movement seeking to liberate the galaxy from the corruption of the Republic." Tony's skepticism was evident. "Sounds like a dictatorship with extra steps." Dooku chuckled. "You have spirit, Mr. Stark, but you also have something I need. Your armor, your mind, your genius. I can offer you freedom in exchange for your cooperation." Tony hesitated, weighing his options. He was far from home, his suit was barely functional, and his only chance of survival seemed to lie in playing along. "Fine," he said reluctantly. "But if I help you, you help me get back to my world." "Agreed," Dooku said with a sly smile. "Welcome to the Confederacy." Over the following weeks, Tony was given access to the Separatists' Sequel's advanced facilities. Dooku provided him with a workshop filled with alien materials and data on the droid army. Tony, ever the innovator, began upgrading the Separatist droids, enhancing their speed, durability, and firepower. He used a mix of his tech and their resources to create a new model, the Iron Legion, a terrifying force capable of overwhelming any Republic opposition. Despite his outward compliance, Tony harbored doubts. The more he learned about Dooku and the Separatists, the more uneasy he became. He kept his suspicions to himself, focusing on his work, while secretly constructing a new Iron Man suit to ensure his survival if things went south. One day, as Tony fine-tuned a prototype, Dooku entered the workshop. "Your progress is remarkable, Mr. Stark. With your contributions, we are closer than ever to achieving victory." Tony didn't look up. "Glad you're happy. But remember, this is a temporary gig. Once you win your war, you hold up your end of the deal." Dooku's smile didn't falter, but his eyes betrayed a flicker of something darker. "Of course." Meanwhile, whispers of the Separatists' newfound strength reached the Jedi Council. Yoda, Mace Windu, and Obi-Wan Kenobi sensed a dangerous shift in the galaxy's balance. Reports of advanced droids decimating Republic forces prompted the Council to investigate. Their journey led them to Geonosis, where they discovered the massive droid factories. As the Jedi infiltrated the facility, Tony observed their arrival through surveillance feeds. His heart sank. So these are the good guys, he muttered to himself. For the first time, he realized the full weight of his actions. As the sun set over the arid landscape of Geonosis, the Separatist base buzzed with activity. Tony Stark stood in the heart of his workshop, staring at the holographic blueprints of his latest creation, an advanced, heavily armed droid called the Mark X2. Its sleek design bore a faint resemblance to his Iron Man suits, but was outfitted with Separatist technology, blaster cannons, shields, and the ability to outmaneuver any Jedi. Tony clenched his fists, his mind torn between his desire to escape and the growing unease at the havoc his inventions could wreak. Count Dooku entered the workshop, his robes flowing behind him. His expression was calm, but his presence was imposing. "Mr. Stark, I trust the Mark X2 is ready for its unveiling." Tony hesitated, his hand brushing against the chest plate of his nearly completed Iron Man suit, hidden behind a tarp. "Yeah, it's ready," he said, his voice betraying his reluctance. "But let's not forget why I'm here. I build, you deliver, get me home." Dooku's smile was faint, but calculating. "And you will have your freedom, Mr. Stark, but first, you must witness the fruits of your labor." A low rumble echoed through the base as Separatist forces mobilized. Tony followed Dooku to a command room filled with holographic displays of the arena outside. Thousands of battle droids stood in formation, their mechanical movements synchronized as they prepared for the Jedi's arrival. "Your Iron Legion will debut tonight," Dooku said, gesturing to the Mark X2 units lining the arena. "And with their success, the Republic will be dealt a crushing blow." Tony's stomach churned as he watched the machines march into position. "Crushing blow," he muttered under his breath. "Great." Outside, the Jedi infiltrated the Separatist stronghold. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker moved cautiously. Their lightsabers ignited, their senses heightened. Mace Windu led a contingent of Jedi Knights through another entry point. Their goal clear: disrupt the Separatists' operations and apprehend Count Dooku. Obi-Wan paused as they approached the factory's main control room. "There's something unusual about these droids," he said, observing their streamlined designs, "more advanced than anything we've encountered before." Anakin, ever brash, smirked. "Nothing we can't handle, Master." Before Obi-Wan could respond, an alarm blared and the droids sprang to life. The Iron Legion units moved with startling speed, their precision and power overwhelming. Blasters fired in synchronized volleys, forcing the Jedi into a desperate defense. Back in the control room, Tony watched the battle unfold on the monitors. The sight of Jedi deflecting blaster bolts with their lightsabers fascinated him, but his admiration quickly turned to dread as he saw the Iron Legion overpowering them. "What am I doing?" Tony muttered, his hands gripping the edge of the console. Dooku, standing beside him, noticed Tony's unease. "A necessary step toward peace," he said, his tone icy. "The Jedi are agents of a corrupt republic. Their removal will pave the way for a new order." Tony's jaw tightened. Peace through annihilation. Classic. As the battle raged, Yoda arrived with reinforcements. The diminutive Jedi Master leaped into the fray, his green lightsaber a blur, as he dismantled droids with precision and grace. The tide began to turn, but the Iron Legion's adaptability and advanced weaponry kept the Jedi on their heels. In the midst of the chaos, Dooku stepped into the arena, his red lightsaber ignited. He faced off against Mace Windu, their duel a clash of power and skill. Sparks flew as their blades met, and the echoes of their battle reverberated across the battlefield. Tony watched the duel from a hidden vantage point, his heart pounding. He slipped away from the command room and returned to his workshop. The tarp covering his secret project was pulled aside, revealing his repaired Iron Man suit, upgraded with Separatist technology. He donned the suit, its systems booting up with a satisfying hum. "Jarvis, online?" Tony asked, his voice steady. "Fully operational, sir," the AI replied. "Good. Let's clean up my mess." Tony launched into the arena, his repulsors firing as he blasted through a wave of droids. The Jedi paused, momentarily stunned by the sight of the armored figure. Dooku's eyes narrowed as he recognized Tony in his new suit. "Mr. Stark," Dooku said, his voice laced with disappointment, betrayal. "Call it a change of heart," Tony retorted, unleashing a barrage of missiles at the Iron Legion units. The Jedi took advantage of the distraction, regrouping and pressing the attack. Yoda joined Tony, leaping onto his shoulder to deflect incoming blaster fire. "Help, you do," Yoda said with a nod of approval. "Let's hope it's enough," Tony replied, dodging an incoming shot. As the battle intensified, Tony confronted Dooku directly. The Sith Lord's lightsaber clashed against Tony's energy shields, sparks flying with each strike. Dooku's mastery of the Force gave him an edge, but Tony's ingenuity and advanced tech kept him in the fight. "Your creations are impressive," Dooku said, parrying Tony's attacks, "but you are out of your depth." "Funny," Tony shot back, firing a repulsor blast that sent Dooku stumbling. "I was about to say the same thing." The battle for Geonosis intensified, the air thick with smoke and the cries of clashing forces. The Jedi, though valiant, were outnumbered and outgunned by the relentless onslaught of the Iron Legion. Tony Stark, encased in his upgraded Iron Man armor, soared above the battlefield, firing repulsor blasts at the droids. Yoda leapt from his perch on Tony's shoulder, carving through the droid ranks with unparalleled speed and precision. Tony landed amidst the chaos, his armor's servos whirring as he braced himself against an advancing group of Iron Legion units. "Jarvis, recalibrate the targeting system. These droids are adapting too fast." "Recalibration complete, sir," the AI replied as Tony unleashed a hail of micro-missiles, obliterating the droids in a fiery explosion. Nearby, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker fought side by side, their lightsabers moving in a synchronized dance of destruction. "Master," Anakin called out between strikes, "where did this guy come from?" Obi-Wan deflected a blaster bolt with a swift movement. "Wherever he's from, we could use more like him." In the Separatist command room, Count Dooku observed the battle with narrowed eyes. The Iron Legion was holding its ground, but Tony Stark's betrayal had disrupted their plans. Dooku turned to his tactical droids. "Deploy the reserve units and bring in the advanced artillery. I will deal with Stark myself." He left the room, his crimson lightsaber igniting as he strode toward the battlefield. As the Jedi pushed forward, they encountered the reserve forces, towering spider droids equipped with heavy plasma cannons and droidekas with enhanced shields. The Republic forces faltered, their lines breaking under the renewed assault. Tony flew low over the battlefield, his suit taking heavy fire. "This is not how I envisioned my first intergalactic war," he muttered. He spotted Mace Windu engaged in a fierce duel with Dooku. The Sith Lord's skill was evident as he matched Windu blow for blow, his strikes deliberate and powerful. Tony intervened, firing a repulsor blast that forced Dooku to backpedal. Windu glanced at Tony, his brow furrowed. "What are you doing here?" "Saving your lives," Tony replied, raising his gauntlets to block an incoming strike from Dooku. You're welcome, by the way. The three engaged in a tense battle, Dooku's mastery of the Force and lightsaber combat keeping him on the offensive. Tony's armor absorbed a glancing blow from Dooku's saber, the energy shield flickering before stabilizing. "You are out of your league, Stark," Dooku said, his voice calm and menacing. "Your technology is no match for the Force." "Yeah, but it's a lot more fun," Tony retorted, deploying a sonic disruptor that briefly disoriented Dooku. Elsewhere, Yoda confronted a swarm of advanced droids. The diminutive Jedi Master moved with blinding speed, deflecting blaster bolts and dismantling the machines. Anakin and Obi-Wan joined him, their combined efforts carving a path through the droid army. "Master Yoda," Anakin said, panting as he cut down another droid. "We need to take out their command structure. Stark's suit can't hold them off forever." Yoda nodded. "Wise, your words are. To victory, this path leads." As Tony and Windu continued their battle with Dooku, a group of Iron Legion units surrounded them. Tony activated his suit's EMP generator, disabling the droids but also temporarily shutting down his own systems. He collapsed to the ground vulnerable. Dooku seized the opportunity, using the Force to hurl Windu across the battlefield. He turned to Tony, raising his lightsaber. "You should have stayed in your world." At the last moment, Tony's systems rebooted. He fired a powerful unibeam from his chest, forcing Dooku to retreat. Windu returned, bruised but determined, and the two resumed their fight. The tide of the battle shifted as Yoda, Anakin, and Obi-Wan infiltrated the Separatist command center. They disabled the control systems, causing confusion among the droid forces. However, reinforcements arrived, more Iron Legion units and Separatist tanks overwhelming the Jedi. Tony rejoined the fray, his suit battered but operational. He landed beside the Jedi, his resolve unshaken. "We need to end this now." Yoda nodded. "A great battle awaits. Ready." The battlefield was littered with the remnants of droids, Jedi, and clones, the air thick with smoke and the distant echoes of explosions. The Separatist forces, bolstered by the remaining Iron Legion units, regrouped under Dooku's command for one final, decisive push. Tony Stark, battered but resolute, stood alongside the remaining Jedi, their numbers drastically reduced. "We have one shot at this," Tony said, his HUD flickering as his suit struggled to stay operational. "If we don't shut Dooku down now, this war's over, and not in a good way." Lakichin, Yoda, perched on the wreckage of a destroyed droid, nodded solemnly. "Dangerous Dooku has become. End this, we must." As Dooku's forces advanced, the Jedi and Republic soldiers prepared to make their stand. Yoda took the lead, leaping into the fray with his lightsaber spinning, while Obi-Wan and Anakin followed close behind. Tony activated what remained of his suit's arsenal, launching missiles and repulsor blasts at the oncoming droids. The battle raged on, chaotic and relentless. Tony's Iron Man suit groaned under the strain of the sustained combat, his repulsors dimming as the power reserves ran dangerously low. Despite this, he fought with ingenuity, using debris as weapons and tactics to outsmart the droids. Dooku descended from his command ship, his crimson lightsaber ignited. He moved with calculated precision, cutting down Republic forces as he advanced toward the Jedi. Anakin intercepted him, their lightsabers clashing in a dazzling display of sparks and light. "You'll pay for all of this, Dooku," Anakin growled, his strikes growing more aggressive with each pass. Dooku smirked, parrying effortlessly. "Such passion, young Skywalker. It will be your undoing." The duel escalated, the Force rippling through the battlefield as the two combatants clashed. Obi-Wan joined the fray, but even their combined efforts struggled to match Dooku's mastery. Yoda, sensing the danger, left the main battle and joined the fight. Tony, meanwhile, faced a wave of Iron Legion units, their adaptive AI posing a significant challenge. His armor systems were failing, but he refused to back down. Jarvis, give me everything we've got. Override all safety protocols. Sir, the suit won't sustain. Do it, Tony roared, unleashing a devastating unibeam that decimated the droids. The blast left his suit smoking, the systems nearly fried. As the Jedi pressed Dooku, he realized the battle was turning against him. With a surge of Force energy, he sent Yoda flying and incapacitated Obi-Wan. He turned to Anakin, locking sabers with him. "You could be so much more, Skywalker," Dooku said, his voice calm yet manipulative. "Join me, and together we can rebuild this galaxy." Anakin's face twisted with rage. Never. Before Dooku could respond, Tony intervened, tackling the Sith Lord with his suit's remaining strength. The two tumbled into the wreckage of a fallen gunship. Dooku used Force lightning to disable Tony's suit, the electricity coursing through the metal and sending sparks flying. "Your machines are impressive," Dooku said, standing over Tony, "but they are no match for the Force." Tony, his voice strained, muttered, "Let's see about that," and activated his suit's auto-repair function. The systems rebooted just as Dooku raised his lightsaber for the killing blow. Tony fired a concentrated repulsor blast at point-blank range, sending Dooku reeling. Yoda and Anakin rejoined Tony, the three confronting Dooku in a final standoff. The Sith Lord, though wounded, remained defiant. "You have no idea what you're up against," he warned. "This is only the beginning." Suddenly, a message from Sidious appeared via hologram, his visage ominous. "Execute Order 66. Across the galaxy, the newly upgraded clones armed with advanced armor and weaponry turned on the Jedi. Chaos erupted as the Republic's forces betrayed their allies, the battlefield descending into carnage. Dooku smirked. "You've already lost." Realizing the magnitude of his mistake in empowering the Separatists and inadvertently enabling Sidious's plan, Tony made a desperate decision. He activated a failsafe in his armor, sending a feedback pulse through the Iron Legion network. The droids began to malfunction, collapsing mid-battle. Yoda nodded, his expression grim. "Wise, this choice is. Dangerous. The path ahead remains." As the Jedi fought to escape the carnage, Dooku retreated with Sidious's forces. Tony, battered and guilt-ridden, watched as the galaxy fell into darkness. He turned to Anakin, who stared at the chaos with a mix of despair and determination. "We can still stop this," Tony said. "We just need to find Sidious and end this once and for all."